Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the AEW Dynamite post-show for Wednesday, December 8th. Tonight on the show, Danielson gets the win over Johnny Hungy. CM Punk's booed out of the building on Long Island, and Riho gets a big win over Jamie Hayter. Let's talk Dynamite. Let's get Johnny North in here. Winter is coming. Let's do it. Whoa. John? Johnny? Sounded like you were coming out of a wind tunnel there. What the hell was that?
Winter's coming, right? So you hear like snow removal going up and down the streets all the time now. You hear the alarms going off and all that because they're trying to remove all the snow. So yeah, winter's already here. It's not coming. It's here already.
Okay. Well, the event Winter is Coming is happening next week, John. That's what I'm talking about. You know, AEW Winter is Coming. It's happening next week.
Well, hopefully it's going to be a good show. I felt like today was just like a kind of a mess show tonight. Punk was good. I thought the women's match was the best match. But everything else was just kind of so-so.
So you're going to give Hayter and Riho the match of the night? Not Bryan and Hungy?
The best match. I mean, it wasn't bad, the main event, but I mean, you know, was there ever any doubt how that was going to end up? I think you said it last week. That's exactly how it's going to end, like that.
With Hungy going to sleep on something.
Right.
I don't know why somebody needs to comment that their battery on their phone is going to die soon. I mean, I don't know. Get a charger. Why is that a comment that needs to be put out there? Who cares? Sorry, Silent by Deadly, but like...
Well, they're going to lose the show then, probably.
Yeah, all right. We'll plug it in then. What are you doing? Shout out to Silent. Shout out to Rolando. Shout out to Alex Tarras. Shout out to Angelo. Shout out to Brian Firth. Everybody tuning in live tonight after an eventful Dynamite. Plug in your phones. I mean, you don't have to apologize. It's just a strange comment. I just don't know why we need. Why do we need to know that your phone was going to die? I mean, plug it in. How hard is that to do? I don't think that's public knowledge. Like, do we need to know? Do we care that much? I mean,
to be fair, I'm sure AJ would have done the same thing.
Yeah, well, AJ's a weird guy. Bryan Danielson and Johnny Hungy had a hell of a match tonight. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed that match. I thought it was fantastic, but I will agree with you. I think Jamie Hayter and Riho had the match of the night. It was pretty damn fantastic. Except for the big botch, everything else was pretty sweet. Hayter just dropped Riho. Did you notice that? Riho jumped off the top rope, and...
botch.
Was that not a botch?
You know, it just happens, you know? Like, I don't know if it was, like, a huge mistake. Like,
well, she was supposed to catch her. What are you talking about? It was a pretty big mistake. Riho jumps off the top rope to the floor. Hayter tries to catch her. Riho just splats on the floor. Look, devastating for Riho. Hayter could have put her body in front of it a little bit, but instead she tried to catch her with her arms. It didn't work, and then she picked her up and rammed her into the ring post. You can't tell me that wasn't a mistake. She intended to catch her in the air, not let her drop on the floor, right? I mean,
yeah, but it's
bit
okay
of an
she
error.
Falls down. I mean, she'll survive.
Yeah, I mean, she did survive. The match continued, but to say it wasn't a mistake is, I think, wrong. Riho finally gets the win after a really nice avalanche crucifix bomb, which I would not know the name of that move unless Excalibur said it. He doesn't know the difference between a knee bar and a heel hook, but he knows what to call an avalanche crucifix bomb. And then a running knee, and Riho gets the pin on Jamie Hayter. Excellent match. Riho was crying afterwards. What's that about? What's she crying for?
Well, she was probably actually in pain from the match. It was a very physical match. Like, it's not easy for her to like get thrown around like that, I'm sure.
Uh-huh.
So I think that was actual just her in pain, crying. But that's fine. That just kind of shows you that it was a struggle to win that match.
Yeah, I guess it was just a strange reaction to be crying there after it seemed like maybe she was in real pain and something was really going on, but Britt Baker attacked her immediately. Britt Baker and Rebel ringside for Jamie Hayter. Of course, they're all a little group there. Baker attacking Riho after the match, and it will be Baker versus Riho at some point for the AEW Women's title. I don't think they announced it for Winter is Coming next week, right? We still don't have a date on that one? Right?
It'll probably be a couple of weeks after, maybe, or something. Maybe they'll wait till January for it. Who knows? Because the thing is, too, like, Winter's Coming is the big show, but it's only 2 hours. As you see tonight, I can go by kind of fast that the matches are kind of long.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to Winter is Coming, though. I think it's going to be a really big show from AEW, and, I can wait for Baker versus Riho for whatever. It's not a match that I'm really looking forward to. I know they're saying, well, Baker's never beat Riho and this and that, but I don't see Riho as the one to take the title away from Baker. Riho's a great wrestler. She was the champion for a long time. She's definitely being rebuilt now as a main eventer. She had a great match with Jamie Hayter, but I just don't see her being the one to take it from Baker right now. I don't think Britt Baker's dropping the title until at least she has a feud with Thunder Rosa. And even then, I don't know. But if I were to pick a successor to Britt Baker as the next champion, I'd say probably Thunder Rosa and not back to Riho. Right? Not Riho.
Well, Riho's tough, though, as you saw tonight. Like, she's not an easy out. Like, it's not going to be easy for Britt to beat her. Like, it's going to be tough. Like, it's going to be a hard-fought match.
Don't talk to me like this is real, John. What the hell are you talking about? It's going to be tough for her to beat her. No, because Riho's going to let her beat her because it's all predetermined. What the hell are you talking about? What do you mean it's going to be tough for her to beat her? It won't be tough. That's not at all what I'm talking about. Oh, it's going to be a hard-fought match because Riho's a hell of a competitor. What are you talking about?
They make Riho as like one of the toughest in there, regardless of her size, regardless of the fact that some of the moves look ridiculous. She's booked, regardless, as one of the toughest in AEW. So they're going to make it that if she beats her, it's going to be extremely difficult.
If she beats her. It'll be a competitive match. They'll give Riho lots of offense. It'll be even, but Britt will win. And that's kind of what I'm saying, John. And I think you know what I'm saying, but you don't want to accept what I'm saying, is that going into the match, you kind of figure, Britt's going to win. You think Riho wins? Even though it'll be a hard-fought battle, John, which is fucking bullshit, which is dumb wrestling talk, like you're on the TV show and keeping it kayfabe for some reason, which is... That's not what we do here, John. I'm trying to talk to you about wrestling in a real way. And in a real way, I don't give Riho a shot in hell of beating Britt Baker for the belt. I don't think Tony Khan is going to book Riho to beat Britt right now because Britt has a lot of momentum going for her character. The Britt Baker character has a lot of momentum, and I don't think they are going to write her in to lose the belt. You understand what I'm saying now, John? You get it? I just don't buy Riho as a legit challenge for Britt because it's just not time. And they haven't built a feud to make it seem like, Riho might win.
Well, you kind of nailed it on the head right there where it's like timing is everything. And if she is going to lose the championship, it needs to be at a big show. Like if it just happens like the week after Winter is Coming, like that's not going to be where the title changes, regardless who she faces. Whether it's Riho or Thunder Rosa, she's not just going to lose on a random Dynamite. It's got to be a big event like Battle of the Belts or the pay-per-view. So, yeah, like you need like a big event for her to lose the championship.
Can you just tell me that you don't think Riho's going to beat Britt? Like you really think they might book Riho to win? I'm just trying to get you to agree with me that Riho will not win Because Riho's been champ for a while and it didn't really work, and Britt's a good champion. She's fun to watch. And they're going to keep the belt with Britt, right?
Thank you very much.
Just say right.
I'm just seeing Patrick. Hamilton.
My God.
Nice. Appreciate that. I'm telling you, if they wait
You're
for
killing
Battle of
me.
the Belts to have that match,
Oh,
I could see a title change there.
I'm going to reach through the screen and attack you, John. I'm going to attack you. I can't believe you. You won't give it to me. Every time I try. You won't give it to me. Shout out to Doug Hepburn. He's watching right now. He says, Dave, you could do a whole show doing a skit with your stuffies and impressions. Funny Raw recap. Yeah, we had fun during the Raw post show. Had some of these guys throwing about. See these guys? Look at that. It's Bret the Hitman Hart, brother. Hey, I'm the best wrestler you've ever seen in your life. I'm Bret Hart. My brother Owen was really good, too.
That's nice. You got them all. You got the collection. That's pretty quick.
Did you not see? I got everything. Did you not watch the Raw recap? I got everybody. I got Hogan. I got Taker. I got Warrior. I got Bret. I got Shiki. I got Charlotte. I got everybody, baby. I got all those little WWE plushies. Also, Doug Hepburn sent me the things. Doug, I got these today in the mail, my man. Dominic Mysterio. Booyaka, booyaka! Why is he wrestling? Why did they give him an action figure? How is he still on TV? He's terrible, but hey, it's his first figure, so I had to get it because I'm a weird guy. And this guy, Damian Priest, I like, so. Thank you, Doug. Doug Hepburn actually sent these to me in the mail. Shout out to Doug. And I sent Doug an Orange Cassidy and a Santana. Orange Cassidy and Santana. And they're in the mail, Doug, so you should be getting them in a day or so. You sent me yours, I think, a couple days before I sent mine. I was a little slow getting the post office, Doug, but you should be getting them hopefully by the end of the week, by Friday, if not Monday or Tuesday. But you should be getting your Orange Cassidy and your Santana from me, Doug. We do figure exchanges here on the Ringside Report Network. You want to trade some action figures? You find something cool? You find me a Kevin Nash Legends figure? You find me a Billy Gunn Legends Series 12? I'll send you some cool stuff. What do I have here? You find me a Kevin Nash? Look at this. Look what I got over here. Oh, Roddy Piper from They Live. Oh, look at that. Oh, yeah.
So you need a checklist for all the things you need.
I've got the whole set, the whole Hollywood set now, John. Look at that. I've got the Hobbs and Shaw, Dwayne the Rock Johnson. I got that. Got myself a little John Cena from Fast and Furious. And then the They Live Roddy Piper. The whole WWE Elite Hollywood set. Pretty pumped to find all three of these. Pretty pumped. All right, back to AEW. I thought Johnny Hungy was fantastic. I really like Johnny Hungy and Bryan Danielson. Like, I was torn between the Jamie Hayter match with Riho and Danielson and Hungy. I thought they had a fantastic match. Fantastic. I mean, they really went at it. The kicks were flying. They were hitting each other hard. I really liked it. Bryan going off the top rope. Johnny Hungy countering with that beautiful power bomb. That was nasty. The Gotch-style pile driver that Bryan hit on Silver that looked like it knocked him unconscious and then puts him in the cattle mutilation and he just passes out and the ref stops the match. Great finish, great match, back and forth. Good action. You know me. I think Bryan Danielson is the best wrestler in the world. I think he should beat Hangman Page next week for the belt. And he should be the #1 champion in the wrestling business, where he deserves to be.
Well, again, like I thought the match was fine. It just, again, it just seemed kind of obvious who was going to win. And it felt like it wasn't really even compared to like how the women's match felt like it was going back and forth. That it felt like, yes, like Silver got a couple of offensive moments, but for the most part, it felt like 70-30 the offense for Danielson.
Yeah, as it should be, though, right? But still, Silver got some in.
Right, but it just seems it's kind of one-sided. a little too much. But I mean, it's the way it should be. But it's hard to really get behind a match like that when it's just too one-sided like that.
I disagree. I got into that match. I thought it was booked perfectly. I thought Silver got some offense, but you knew that Bryan was going to win. Bryan has gone through so many members of the Dark Order at this point. You know, Angels, Cabana, Uno. He's been through everybody. He's going to wrestle Hangman next week. He has to look strong here in the main event. You can't have Johnny Hungy getting too much offense over. Like, if Johnny Hungy gets the same amount of offense in that Hangman gets in next week, then, you know, what's the difference between Johnny Hungy and Hangman? You have to show the difference between, okay, here's a main eventer, and here's Johnny Hungy, and he's not quite there, and Bryan's going to get more in. And he did. And that made a lot of sense. And then Bryan cuts a promo after the match. He says, you know, all the guys that he beat up in the Dark Order in the past, and next week he's going to beat Hangman and take the belt, and now he's going to kick Silver's head in a little bit more, and he starts kicking Silver's head, and then Hangman hits the ring. Hangman, who hasn't been seen all show, world champion, finally hits the ring, lands a couple punches on Bryan before Bryan escapes, and Hangman gets on the mic and tells him he's going to stomp the cowboy shit out of him next week. Winter is coming. The World Championship match. It will be the main event. Hangman versus Bryan. Give the belt to Bryan, Tony Khan. Don't fuck around. It's Bryan's time. Give the belt to Bryan. People are already turning on Hangman as the champion. I say give Bryan the belt next week. He's the best wrestler in the world today. He does everything better than everybody else. He's a better promo than Hangman. He's better in the ring than Hangman. He does everything better than Hangman and everybody else in the wrestling world. He's the number one wrestler on the planet, has been for years. He's one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. It would be an honor for AEW to make him the world champion. Give Bryan the belt. Give Bryan the belt. Hangman's fine. I like Hangman. Hangman will have plenty of opportunities to become AEW World Champion. Maybe he'll be the first ever two-time champion. Fine. But if Bryan loses here to Hangman, where does he go? What does he do? He's just back mid-card. Just another guy in AEW, which he should not be. Once again, the big match that AEW should be aiming for is CM Punk versus Bryan Danielson for the World Championship. That's the biggest match they could possibly do. Putting Bryan Danielson with that AEW championship is the first step. Give Bryan the belt. I like Hangman. I think he's great. But I think he would be better suited to lose the belt next week. I think the Hangman story overall, long-term, would be better suited with a loss of the belt early on in the run. He worked so hard to get there. It was a long journey. Finally beats Kenny, only to lose to Bryan Danielson a month later. That would be quite a story. And people would be mad, and you would get more sympathy for Hangman, and he would have to start the journey all over again. And he would, and it would work, and he would become champion. It's called a sequel. It's not complicated. People in the entertainment business do it all the time, over and over again. You like the original? Well, guess what? The original was so successful, we're going to give you the sequel with new bad guys, new opponents, and new twists and turns. But in the end, the hero will still win. It's Hangman 2. Rise of the Hangman. It's the sequel. And it starts with him losing to Bryan Danielson next week. Johnny, tell me why Bryan Danielson should not be the world champion next week.
Well, this is Hangman's first defense. Like, I could see Danielson winning. We've talked about this. Like, I could see Danielson becoming champion. It's just, it's too soon. Like, at least give Hangman one defense. Maybe losing the rematch a couple of weeks from now. Maybe at the pay-per-view. But I think on this show, You can have it where it ends, where it's a little controversial, like maybe there was like a roll up and maybe there was a kick out the ref can see or something. It doesn't need to be completely clean, so you can keep it going. I don't think it should end here. I think you give Hangman the win, but you keep the feud going, and eventually Bryan would become champion.
Okay. I don't hate that. I don't hate that. Because at the end of this feud, whether it's next week or a month from now or 2 months from now, Bryan Danielson is eventually the AEW World Champion, and that we can agree on. Bryan Danielson is up next, and he's up soon. Right?
Yeah, well, he should be. Like, it's the way it should go down, but stranger things have happened, though, as we've seen. You know, we've seen them go one direction, they completely change it the next show.
He's so good, though, right? Can they go against this? Like, they've got to, but they got to see what's going on here with Bryan Danielson. He's on fire. How do they go against him? How do they not go with this? There's nobody hotter in their company than Bryan Danielson.
Well, you did see CM Punk talk about the World Championship, so I could easily see Punk and Bryan, like, maybe not for the title, but just feud.
So what, they both lose to their guys and then they just wrestle each other as like a consolation prize? That's not how you want to see the CM Punk Bryan Danielson feud go down, right? If Bryan loses to Hangman and Punk loses to MJF and they're like, oh, I guess we'll wrestle each other now. Weak. Like, they're the two top guys in the company. They shouldn't lose their feuds and then wrestle each other because they are the two top guys in the company. Whether you like it or not, whether they're ex-WWE guys or not, they are the two biggest stars that they have by far, and they're also the two best guys that they have. They're not only the most over, they're also the most talented. So, what are we waiting for here? It just seems obvious that you would put Bryan and Punk together at some point for the world title. There's nobody bigger. There's nobody better. Kenny's not around. Moxley's not around. This is Punk and Bryan's company. And Hangman Page, since winning the championship, has not distinguished himself, has not established himself as a legitimate main eventer in this company. He's lost in the shuffle. Right now, who's got more momentum, Hangman or MJF?
Yeah, MJF, but I always feel it's that way. It's the ones who are up and coming that have more momentum than the champion. Because the champion, their whole thing was to get to the title, right? And once they did it, it's kind of over, right? Now it's just they have to wait for the next guy to knock them down, pretty much.
I mean, Kenny didn't lose momentum when he became champion. He became better.
Well, he became multiple champions.
Yeah. Moxley became better as champion. Jericho elevated as champion. Like, everybody's elevated as champion except Hangman. The AEW World Championship has done less for Hangman than it has for any of the champions prior, and he seems to have cooled off since winning the belt. He's less exciting. He's less over. It's time to take the belt off him.
How much you've seen him.
Yeah, they limit, but when you do see him, like he had that promo the night after or a few nights after, you know, on the Dynamite, the Cowboy promo in Virginia, and that was big, but since then, he's been quiet. Quiet last week, quiet this week. Maybe he'll retain the title next week, but I don't know. I think the match with Bryan will be fantastic. I think Hangman is a fantastic wrestler. But there are some elements of his championship-level character that aren't clicking, that aren't working, that aren't, you know, apparent. It's like, who is this guy right now? He was this drunk, lonely guy who was just trying to get by and had self-doubts and thought maybe he could beat Kenny, but he wasn't sure and he needed to prove it to himself, and then he did, and now he's champion, and he's got his friends in the Dark Order, and that's it. There's not much to him since winning the championship. So I think maybe AEW is planning to take the title off of him and then rebuild, do something else with him. I think they would be better suited to do that because he would be more over chasing right now. I don't think the first title run is the long title run. The second title run, third title run, that's when you give it to somebody for a while. But the first title run, especially with the first-time world champion, doesn't have to be that long. I remember Bret Hart always saying, the first world championship is fine, but it's the second one where okay, the company really believes in you. Anybody can win it one time, but when they give it to you again, after losing it, and they give it to you again, it shows you, okay, we have real faith in you. You're not just a champion. You are one of our main guys. I think the second run will be more important for Hangman. The first run is big, but the second run will be more important. And again, I just don't see anybody better than Bryan Danielson right now, and it would be a shame to have him just lose to Hangman and go back down the card to wrestle, whoever. Daniel Garcia or something, Make him champion. I think he could have a hell of a run with the belt and help AEW, elevate AEW. The ratings aren't that strong these days. Haven't ratings been really bad since Hangman's been champion?
I feel like that's not completely true. I feel like they've actually dipped. Remember, because they kept doing that whole going to Saturdays,
Yeah.
and coming back. That's what made it dip. When you're not consistently at the right time slot, that's how you lose viewership.
Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens next week. Winter is coming, Bryan versus Hangman. And I'll tell you, as a wrestling fan, there's nothing that I like more than a match like this. Two guys that I think are two of the best in the world, wrestling for a world championship. I do not know how it's going to finish. I don't know if Bryan's going to win. I don't know if Hangman's going to win. And I'm actually such a fan of Bryan's that I'm actively rooting for him like I'm rooting for a sports team to win. Like when I watch wrestling, I don't root for people to win because it's predetermined. It's whatever. But when I watch Bryan Danielson, especially wrestling for a world championship, he's so good that I root for him. I cheer for him. And if he wins the title next week, holy shit. I'm going to have such a celebration on this show, it's going to be ridiculous. I'm going to go nuts. If Bryan wins next week, I'm going to go crazy. And if he loses, I'm going to be pissed. So either way, next week is going to be fun. Tune in, because I'll either be so happy and just celebrating and telling everybody, I told you so, and shit like that, or I'm going to be real mad because Bryan lost. And I'm going to curse out Tony Khan, tell him that, his dad never should have given him any money, and guy's a joke, and doesn't know how to handle Cody Rhodes, and all sorts of shit. Cody was good tonight. I liked Cody tonight. They're giving in.
Well, kind of. I feel like they're just teasing stuff, but it was good. I don't know if you noticed his arm. Man, that looked rough. I know you were upset that he kind of used stuff to protect himself, but it seemed like it made it worse, actually.
Well, his arm, I don't think he had stuff on his arm. I think it was all on his back, right? It just looked weird last week when he had all this stuff peeling off his back, and you're like, what the hell's going on? And then he goes through fire, and you're like, oh, okay, it was some sort of fire protection. It just looked weird because, we've seen people go through flaming tables before, and we've never, ever seen a guy with, stuff peeling off his back during a match.
But this is what made it worse, though, is that he put it on before he did that stunt, right? So it kind of just sweated off a bit, but it didn't completely sweat off. So when he landed on it, I think it made it worse. I think a lot of the piece of the tables went to his arm because I don't know if you saw pictures of his back afterwards. Pictures of his back are all pink too as well. It looked really bad what happened to him. I think by putting that stuff on him, it made it worse.
Maybe. His arms definitely seemed scarred up for real. I mean, he went through those flames last week. I think part of his boot was on fire, too. He was on fire last week. And it was weird, too, because Cody suplexed Andrade through the table, but it was really Cody going through the fire. Andrade didn't take that much of it. I don't know if Andrade got burnt up at all, but it didn't look like he got put in any kind of fire. Cody goes through a fire table, and then he pins Andrade to win. It was kind of weird, but, wrestling.
I actually like it because he was on fire. And he put Andrade on fire. So, yeah, like, he actually is the most dangerous person because he's on fire. So, yeah, of course, I would stay down for that. Like, just pin me already. Like, you're going to put me on fire, too? Like, no, let's end this.
I guess Andrade was just scared of burning, so he just allowed Cody to pin him.
Like, he was actually, he sold the reactions. Like, get away from me. Like,
ridiculous. Doug Hepburn dropping a super chat. He says, Johnny, body slam Dave at MEW Friday. Johnny and I will be at the MEW show. I'm just going to be there. I got tickets. I'm just going to hang out with AJ and watch the show. It'll be fun for me. Johnny's going to be ringside doing some things, causing some shenanigans. Right? What can we say about your appearance, Johnny?
I don't think there's going to be any body slamming going on. But it'll be a fun show for everybody.
It'd be fun.
All ages show, by the way.
It'd be fun if I could get involved and get body slam.
Well, you kind of got involved in the last show.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Yeah, I was involved. I asked a question to Santino, and hopefully we'll be doing more stuff with MEW Wrestling in the future. MEWWrestling.com for more info on that. Go check them out. I was talking to my buddy Nick Patterson earlier tonight about the big MEW show. I was talking to my buddy Jeremy Prophet as well earlier tonight about that show. So there's serious buzz.
He's wrestling the main event.
Yeah, Jeremy's going to be in the main event, and Nick, of course, is the promoter for the great MEW Wrestling. So I'm looking forward to that, and looking forward to seeing all the great wrestlers in action. Of course, El Contador, our friends Giancarlo, and what's the other guy's name? I forget his name. Chato?
Correct.
Right? Chato and Giancarlo. Brad Alexis, I think, is going to be on this card. Jeremy Prophet will be on this card. Michael the Mind Patterson is going to be managing our buddy Jeremy. Sexy Eddie is going to be opposite you, Johnny. Sexy Eddie, you may have to punch him in his penis, which won't be difficult because it's very large. You'll be able to find it, no problem, right? Eddie's.
There's also a bunch of people from Impact Wrestling that'll be there.
Yeah, Madman Fulton, Falaba. It's good stuff. Right?
It should be a good show.
Santa Claus is going to be there.
Jacques Rougeau is going to be there. It's a big show when you think about it.
El Reverso versus Ace Austin. Madman Fulton versus Jeremy Prophet versus Falaba versus either Aiden Prince or El Chato, because Aiden Prince and El Chato will be wrestling each other. Sexy Eddie versus Giancarlo with El Contador in his corner. Jacques Rougeau will be there, and Santa Claus will be there, and Santino Marella will be there as well. Stone Rockwell versus Brad Alexis. Big show Friday night at the M-Telus, MEWWrestling.com for more info. All right?
I think Santa Claus might get beat up, though. I don't know. Santa Claus is always a nice person. I think Santa Claus needs to get slapped around a little bit. Wait and see what happens this Friday.
I think people in the chat are talking about the Canadians or something.
They're not playing right now.
No, I don't know what they're talking about. But I'll tell you what, Canadians fans, until the media and the dirtbag politicians are less focused on the linguistic makeup of the team, your team's not going to fucking win. If the main focus, if you're running a hockey team, right, and your main focus is what language the fucking team speaks and the general manager speaks and the coach speaks, and your main focus isn't winning, and everybody else's main focus is winning in the league, how the fuck do you think you're going to do? And the dumbass media like, yeah, everybody should speak French because otherwise it's not right. You fucking idiots, you're never going to win. I personally don't give a fuck, but it's obviously like a reality show, / cultural institution more than it is an actual sports franchise trying to win games. That's been made very clear to me. With all these dirtbags saying, oh, they need to all speak French, otherwise it's not fair. It's like, all right, well, how about winning? You focused on winning at all? If the whole team spoke Russian, didn't speak French, didn't speak English. From the general manager to the coach to every single player. They're all Russian or Swedish or whatever. Nobody speaks English, right? Yet they win Stanley Cup after Stanley Cup. Would people fucking complain? Oh, I don't understand what they're saying. I have to read the subtitles. They're winning. Would people come? I bet you people in the city would be like, well, it's nice that they win, but it'd be good if they all spoke French. It's like, they speak Russian. Who cares? To me, if the Yankees were 100% Japanese, if every player, every manager, the president, the front office, if they were all Japanese and they all spoke Japanese and they won the World Series, I wouldn't give a fuck. Matter of fact, even if they didn't win the World Series, I wouldn't give a fuck. Because the language that my favorite athlete speaks means nothing to me. I watched Jose Aldo last weekend kick major ass. Jose Aldo doesn't speak English. The man is speaking Portuguese. He's from Brazil. Am I less of a Jose Aldo fan because he's fucking Portuguese? Get the fuck out of here. Unbelievable, man. Fucking Canadians fans. Well, Canadians fans want everything. They don't deserve to win. They don't deserve to win because they fucking co-opt this dumb fucking idea that, oh, everybody's got to speak the language that we understand. Otherwise, we can't read subtitles. Not smart enough to do that. Meanwhile, come on, get it together. Dumbass. Dumb shit.
Well, tonight wasn't about Canadians bashing. It was about New York Islanders bashing. For whatever reason, CM Punk just decided to like completely destroy the New York Islanders tonight. I'd feel bad if I was an Islanders fan.
MJF and CM Punk was a highlight of the show. Like, we could talk about Bryan and Riho and Hater, but MJF and Punk was the best thing, right? I mean, it started off the show. It was the best part of the show. It was so good. CM Punk comes out.
It's the best thing going to AEW.
Yeah, it is. It really is. It's so good. WWE's trying to replicate it on Raw with Edge and The Miz.
Well, that's hard. Yeah, they shouldn't do that. That's bad.
Doesn't it seem like they're trying to do like a CM Punk MJF thing, but like their own version? Doesn't it feel like that?
Well, I heard that line where they said, "Oh, other people are trying to use you, like you're living rent free in other people's heads." Like, why say that line? Like, it's so stupid. Like, you're acknowledging the other show. Like, don't do that. You're bigger than that, WWE. Don't do that.
Yeah, but it was cool. It was kind of like, ooh, got a reaction. It got people talking. That's what you want.
It's Santa!
That's what you want. Doug Hepburn dropping a super chat. Thank you, Doug. He says Dave Simon for Habs GM. No, see, that's a bad idea, Doug, because despite the fact that I'm perfectly bilingual and I can speak French and English to the media, which apparently is the most important thing, I don't know shit about hockey. So yes, I'm sure the media and the and the politicians who apparently have fucking a clue about hockey. You know what I mean? Like, the media and the politicians would be like, oh, yeah, Dave Simon is great. He's born in Montreal. He speaks French. Oh, he'd be a great GM. Meanwhile, I don't know fucking anything about hockey, and I don't care.
Top candidate, it sounds like.
Yeah, I am a top candidate. Because it doesn't really matter. And people are like, oh, put Patrick Waugh in there. Because people like to watch Patrick Waugh crash and burn. It's just a reality show. The team is a reality show. And the media, they make their money off the fucking circus. So what do you think they want? Circus! And a reality show isn't that fun if you don't understand the language that the guys are speaking. So you want them to speak your language. Why? Because they're winning? Because if you speak the language, you win better? No. Because it's a reality show. Because it's a circus. It's fucking idiocy. It's indicative of what's wrong with this province. You know? We don't care if we win. We just want to be understood. You fucking losers. How about winning? Let's fucking win. As a people. It's a pathetic fucking mentality over here. It's pathetic.
You're going to give us your Expos take now, or?
There's no take. There's no team. Everybody on that team spoke Spanish. No one gave a shit. Think anybody spoke French on that team? No, no one cared. Everybody spoke Spanish, and we're all like,
spoke English.
Yeah, they didn't speak English. The Vladimir Guerrero didn't speak English, or apparently he did, but he refused to do it in front of people. He spoke English to the ladies in the bars, apparently, but wouldn't speak English to the media, and who cares? He was still fucking awesome. No one gave a shit. Because it's different baseball, you know. It's not ingrained in the fabric of our fuck out of here. Fucking nerds. I don't give a fuck about hockey. God, it's dumb. MJF, he doesn't give a fuck about hockey either. His music hits. And the crowd popped, but of course CM Punk walked out. CM Punk cares about hockey. Fucking guy. He walks out, crowd boos, goes crazy. Some people were chanting CM Punk's name, but most of the crowd was just booing Punk out of the building. I thought that was a nice touch. MJF's music hit, the crowd went nuts. And then when Punk came out, they're like, oh, boo, you bastard, boo. That was great. Just that alone was fantastic. And then Punk just goes at the crowd. Says, Chicago was much louder. I get why the Islanders haven't won a game in this building. Which, like, how long's the hockey season been going on? Have they really not won a home game?
If they're as bad as he said they are, it's very possible. They've played over 20 games at least, so it's possible.
That's crazy. Anyways, Punk reveals a 4-pillar shirt that he's wearing, that they're selling, by the way, with Darby and Sammy and Jungle Boy and MJF, except on Punk's shirt, MJF is replaced with Britt Baker. And then Punk says, MJF can't understand how I put over a woman because of her accomplishments, and it has to be about TNA. I have to be wanting to sleep with her because MJF, you're an incel, which I thought was good. And just like all you people, this is who you cheer for, this jerk MJF. And then the crowd chanted, fuck your pizza. And Punk said he didn't understand what they were saying. But they were saying, fuck your pizza. Because, of course, the big pizza rivalry between New York and Chicago, the New York Long Island fans were chanting, fuck your pizza, which I thought was pretty funny. And then Punk says he wants the winner of the Hangman Bryan title match. He says MJF probably wants the winner too. So they're going to have to settle their differences to figure out who gets to challenge for the belt next. Crowd chanting, shut the fuck up at Punk. As Punk just kind of went on and on, the crowd was not into him at all. Punk wanted to wrestle MJF tonight. That got a pop from the crowd. They were into that. But he didn't think MJF would agree to it. He says no man in the building would agree to it. And because since MJF is their guy, that means that they all must be chicken shit like MJF. And then he walked out to a chorus of boos. Fucking legendary promo from CM Punk tonight. Real old school CM Punk turning heel on the crowd. Not something we've seen in a very long time. We've seen kind of nice guy Punk for a while. But tonight, MJF was the babyface in Long Island. CM Punk was the heel. They did the old switcheroo. And it fucking worked. It's not going to be like this next week in Texas or the week after in North Carolina. But tonight in Long Island, it was MJF country, and CM Punk was the bad guy. And I loved it. And they went with it. You know, AEW was like not trying to hide it. They weren't pumping in fake crowd noise to get their babyface the right reaction. They didn't avoid putting CM Punk on a live mic. CM Punk didn't try to be a babyface. He leaned into it. And it worked. It felt real, it felt organic, and it was fun. Great promo from Punk. Great stuff to open the show.
Yeah, to me, it kind of felt like that whole like Canada versus USA thing that Brett was doing back in like '97, where he get like a face reaction in Canada, but always booed in the States. It kind of felt like that, where we were like in that weird part where it's like, oh, they're always gonna cheer the heel, but boo the face. Everywhere else, it's always going to be like, oh, no, it's back to normal now. We're not in Bizarro land anymore.
It was great. It was great. They weren't trying to hide it. MJF was going to be the babyface. They knew it, and Punk was the heel, and he was not afraid to be the heel. And he's a great heel. A lot of hockey references, though, like 3 or 4 Islanders references. By the end of it, I was like, all right, we get it. They're a bad hockey team. I don't care. You know, like, how many times are you going to mention it? Like, you mentioned it one time, it's like, all right, do you have nothing else to make fun of Long Island for? Like, nothing?
I guess it's the main problem, I guess, with Long Island. I suppose even what's his name, Castor, also did the same thing. He also dissed the Islanders in his rap.
Yeah. Caster's so good. I love that guy. He is one of the highlights of the show whenever he's on it because he's fire on the microphone. The guy always delivers with those raps. He's excellent. I'm a big Max Caster fan. And every week he just delivers. Like, he doesn't have a bad week. Said a line about Cuomo tonight. Like, goddamn. Killing it. Stiff.
Now you always want to hear what he has to say. You know, he's getting better in the ring. It's coming. So once his wrestling is as good as his promo skills, he could be like a top star.
Man, those Cuomos are a disgrace, eh? You see that guy who got fired from CNN because he's a disgraceful man? Total disgrace, those Cuomos. Anyways. MJF video package played, hyping him up. I mean, how awesome was that MJF video package? It was so
funny.
Good. Oh, my God, it was great. And then he comes out, and he gets a hero's welcome. Like, the crowd went nuts. Like Punk in Chicago, like Bryan in Seattle, like Piper in Portland. Like, the fans went crazy for MJF tonight. And he was emotional. I really liked seeing babyface MJF, like, come out and try to be composed, but, like, you could tell, like, he was smiling. He was kind of wiping back some tears. Like, that was a real emotional response from MJF to that crowd. And it was beautiful. That's what pro wrestling's all about. Like, all right, you're a bad guy. You say mean things. We get it. But, you know, this is your home, and your people love you. And, you know, MJF reacted to that. It was real love, and he gave them real love back, and it was real emotion. And it was beautiful. I was really happy to see MJF. I was really happy to see him get that. Nice Jewish boy from Long Island. Good man.
It's a nice moment. I just wish the Battle Royal was more star-studded. Like, besides him, there's not really top stars. When you look at that Battle Royal, there's a lot of mid-carders.
Yeah, they were all mid. They were all real mid. Bunch of poors. The Battle Royal sucked. I didn't like it at all. Jay Lethal was, like, barely in it. Jay Lethal had a great, like AEW debut. Remember AEW? Like, he debuted there, Jay Lethal, with Sammy Guevara. He had a title match. It was a great match. Mm-hmm. Since then, where's he been? He got eliminated first in this Battle Royal by Matt Hardy. What the hell was that?
It's kind of well, but they used the brass knucks though to eliminate him. So I mean, there was a kind of thing with that. And he's probably going to feud with Matt more than likely. So I mean, he wasn't the guy they were trying to get over. They were trying to get over Dante Martin, and I think it worked.
Did it? Because I'm just confused by Dante Martin's back and forth turns. Like, Dante Martin didn't seem to be with Lio Rush during that match. Weren't they wrestling each other?
Yeah, they were wrestling each other.
So
Battle Royal is everyone for themselves.
Yeah, okay, but Dante Martin and Lio Rush were like a team, right? And then last week, Dante Martin was like, oh, I'm going to go with Team Taz now, or maybe 2 weeks ago, whatever, right? And then this week, Dante Martin's in this Battle Royal with Lio Rush, and he's still, like, wrestling with Lio Rush, attacking him, you know, acting like he's a heel, not acting like he's with Lio Rush in this Battle Royal, until the end, at a certain point, when it was Ricky Starks, Dante Martin, and MJF at the end, and Dante decides to eliminate Ricky Starks from the Battle Royal, effectively turning on Team Taz and leaving the group. But he was with Lio Rush, then he joined Team Taz. Lio Rush seemed shocked. Then tonight, he beats up Lio Rush, you know, wrestles Lio Rush, and then eventually turns on Team Taz. So whose side is Dante Martin on? Is he friends with Lio Rush? Is he friends with Team Taz? Does he hate them all? Is he a heel? Is he a babyface? Do I care enough about Dante Martin to give a shit about this turn? The guy never talks. He's got the same expressionless face every time you see him. You don't know if he's a heel or a babyface because every time you look at him, he looks like this. This is a Dante Martin face. Everything he looks, he reacts shocked about everything. It's like, are you a heel or are you a babyface? He does things to, like, when he eliminated Ricky Starks, he looked surprised that he did that. So, did you mean to do it? Was it a moment of insanity? Like, what happened? He looks surprised all the time. When he joined Team Taz, he's like, I'm joining Team Taz. And you're like, okay, do you want to join Team Taz? And he's just like, he's got no expression on his face. You can't tell what he is, where he's going, what his direction is. I don't give a fuck about Dante Martin. He's fun to watch. He does nice little flippy moves. But as far as his character, there's none. And now they're trying to, like, have him switch back and forth from heel to babyface, back to babyface or something. And by his facial expressions, you can't tell what he's doing. He doesn't even seem like he can tell what he's doing. I didn't like that. And then at the end, it's like, oh, it's Dante Martin and MJF, and oh, they won the Battle Royal, so it's over now, and now they have to wrestle each other next week to see who wins the ring. And I guess that's why they turned Dante babyface tonight, so that he could face MJF in a proper position next week. Ricky Starks attacked Dante after the match. MJF kind of like celebrated with Dante and like shook his hand after the match, said, okay, we'll have a good match next week. And then Ricky Starks attacked Dante afterwards because Dante, turned on him. And then MJF was on the ramp and he thought about helping Dante. It looked like MJF was going to do a full babyface turn. And he decides, like, yes, I'm going to go. I'm going to run down. And it looks like he's going to help Dante. He gets in Ricky Starks' face. But then instead of doing that, he just keeps attacking Dante with Ricky Starks, which makes sense. And CM Punk then made the save. Crowd booed. MJF bailed. And Punk hit the GTS on Starks. Which, fine. But all that Dante Martin stuff with Team Taz? Come on. Come on. You thought that was good?
Well, you kind of bring it up in the sense where it's like you don't know what Dante Martin's thinking. Now, yeah, his face kind of looks kind of weird sometimes, but it's because of that, though. You don't know what he's thinking, so what's he going to do? It kind of makes it a little unpredictable. And he's kind of like that Jungle Boy, doesn't really have a good like charisma, can't really cut a good promo, but his in-ring work shines above all that they're still going to push him like crazy. So I think that, again, like he might not beat MJF, but they're going to make it seem like it's going to be really hard for MJF to beat him.
Which it shouldn't, because MJF is up here and Dante Martin is down here. It
Right,
shouldn't
but
be hard to beat
it's not
him.
going to be like that.
I know.
It will be very hard.
Yeah, like it was hard for Daniel Bryanson to beat Alan Angels.
Probably even harder.
Yeah, which is ridiculous. Like MJF should just walk through Dante Martin next week. But he probably won't. But he will win, right? He'll be the Diamond champ, Diamond Stud again.
Well, I mean, just based on interference, there should be no question. Unless somehow there's some sort of backfire. That's the only way that could screw him over.
Yeah, MJF has to win unless CM Punk costs him the match. Possibly.
Team
MJF
Taz or something. There's some sort of backfire.
MJF eliminated Wardlow in this match, right? At one point, like, MJF eliminates Lio Rush, Lee Johnson, and Wardlow at the same time. How many times does MJF just shit on Wardlow before Wardlow says, all right, enough of this? At what point?
Hasn't he eliminated him before in the past?
I think so.
Battle Royals?
I think so.
Yeah.
Last year, maybe? It's just something he does.
It's very possible it happened last year, so.
It's ridiculous. I see there's some sort of debate whether MJF is Jewish or not. MJF is definitely Jewish. All right? Did you not see his suit last week? Nice Hanukkah suit. Maxwell Jacob Friedman. I mean, as a Jew, I know my fellow Jews, and MJF is definitely Jewish. Did he have a bar mitzvah? I don't know. Is he circumcised? We'll have to find out. But I'm pretty sure he's Jewish. And I would bet that he's circumcised. Maybe he had a bar mitzvah. I don't know. Not all my, I've got some friends that are Jewish that didn't have bar mitzvahs. They still consider themselves Jews. I don't know about that. I don't know if I'd give it to them. But, you got to have the cred. Bar mitzvah cred, it's everything. I've got full cred, John. Full cred. I can read Hebrew. I read from the Torah, the real Torah. All right? With a yud and everything. God bless. I'm a real Jew just like MJF, and I love my MJF. I think he's fantastic. I loved seeing him tonight. This was a career-defining moment for MJF tonight in Long Island, right? Like, this was a beautiful moment for him. Beautiful moment. Love seeing him get his love in his hometown. And then the show... Hey, thank you, Angelo. Angelo dropping a super chat. Thank you, Angelo. I believe Doug Hepburn is the super chat leader right now, though. Thank you, Doug. Thank you, Angelo, for supporting the Ringside Report Network. Don't forget to hit us up on super chat. Shouldn't just be Doug and Angelo. I want everybody to hit us up on that super chat. Matthew Henley asking if Johnny is going to be wrestling on Friday. I don't think you're actually in the match, but you will be ringside, right?
Yeah, I'll be at the show. Wrestling, not so much.
Yeah. Yeah.
Still be a good show, though.
Yeah. Hopefully I get to see my man Matthew at the show. Shout out to Matthew. Saw him at the last MEW show. And I'll be there again with AJ on Friday night. I think AJ's coming with me. If not AJ, then maybe somebody else will come with me. I don't know. We'll see. I'm pretty sure it's AJ, though. I talked to him. He seemed into it. After MJF, the show kind of dropped off. We had the Varsity Blondes and Jurassic Express over 2.0 and the Acclaimed. After the Acclaimed intro there with the rap, I got kind of bored of this match. Jungle Boy got the other Acclaimed guy to tap for the win, not Caster, the other guy. What's his name?
Bowens.
Bowens, yeah. I like him. He's all right. I like them both.
Yeah, they're okay. I mean, again, they're still a new team, but they're getting better.
So the Varsity Blondes and Jurassic Express get the win there over 2.0 and the Acclaimed. Eddie Kingston came out during the match to stop Daniel Garcia from interfering and was super over. Eddie's from New York too, right? The crowd went nuts for Eddie Kingston.
Yeah, I don't think he's from Long Island, but I believe New York area at least.
Yeah. Where's he from? I know he's from New York. Yonkers. He's billed from Yonkers, so he's definitely a New Yorker. And not everybody in attendance tonight on Long Island was from Long Island. I'm sure there was a lot of people from the Bronx and Staten Island and Yonkers and Queens and Brooklyn and even some people from Manhattan. So definitely the New York crowd very, very strong for Eddie Kingston, which made me wonder why we didn't get more from Eddie Kingston tonight. He goes backstage. What the hell happened there? He seemed to be cutting a promo, but you couldn't hear anything he was saying. Kingston, after the match, gets a camera guy to follow him backstage where he's, talking and yelling, and you can't hear a word he's saying. Ortiz shows up there for some reason, trying to talk to Eddie Kingston. I don't know what they were saying. I don't know where Santana was, but Ortiz was there. And then 2.0 and Daniel Garcia show up, and they beat up Kingston and Ortiz with garbage cans. Why did any of this happen?
Well, I think he was supposed to cut a promo there, but for whatever reason, the mic, I think, that was supposed to be on the camera wasn't working, so you couldn't hear what was going on. So that was it. And Ortiz just happened to be there. I think it was just there's a friendship there. There's a past, so just throw him in there. He needs someone to take the beating with. Yeah, I guess they'll feud with 2.0, perhaps Santana and Ortiz.
What about Eddie Kingston?
Why, you do a 6-man.
Yeah. Eddie Kingston should wrestle on Rampage on Friday because they're on Long Island again. But I don't know. He hasn't been booked for anything. Rampage.
Are they taping it tonight?
I think so.
Well, there you go.
Rampage.
Should do something.
Yeah, but I don't... he didn't get booked. We have Bunny, Penelope Ford, and Nyla Rose against Ruby Soho, Anna Jay, and Ty Conti. Adam Cole will wrestle Wheeler Yuta, and Hook will make his in-ring debut for AEW. Hook Taz. Taz's son Hook. Hook Taz will take on Fuego del Sol on Rampage on Friday.
Everyone, it's Santa!
Which is pretty cool. Shout out to Rolando dropping a super chat. There you go. Rolando getting in on the mix. Don't forget to join, Rolando. Become a member of the channel. Click that join button beneath me if you're watching on YouTube, or go to join.ringsidereport.net. Become a member of the channel, just like Angelo, just like Doug, just like so many others who will become members of the Ringside Report Network. Support us for just $5 a month. Thank you, Rolando. Yeah. So we had other stuff here on Dynamite. Varsity Blondes had a big night. Not only did they get the win in that 8-man tag, but they were interviewed on the stage for some reason later on. And Malachi Black, and the lights go out, and Malachi Black shows up and sprays the mist in Julia Hart's face. Brian Pillman also got misted, but he didn't sell it. Did you notice there was like all sorts of black mist on his face? At first, I thought he was the target of the misting.
Right.
But Julia Hart sold it like she was blind, and Brian Pillman was just like, oh, we need to get her help. He seemed fine. That was botched.
Yeah, well, it also seemed like she barely got any at all. It seemed like he got more of it than she did. Yet she sold it like it was death. So, yeah, it looked bad. I don't know why, but the mist always comes out really bad, or doesn't seem like it comes out really at all. So I don't know what's going on, but they should fix that.
Maybe he's just not good at misting. Asuka was real good at getting people misted. Remember when she was doing it? She was good. She always hit her target. Everybody looked like they got really painted in the face. Aleister Black, he's hitting these people. They barely get touched. It's weird. Also, why do that to her? Well, what did she do? Why, if you're Malachi Black, would you start a feud with the Varsity Blondes? Isn't that a little beneath you? Why go after them? Seems like easy pickings.
Well, I think it's just being a heel, you know. Attack someone who's smaller than you. That's pretty much it.
I mean, it's good heat. You can't attack a woman, but you could spit in her face, I guess.
Right? Carlito did it a lot.
I spit in the face of people who don't want to be cool. Which always confused me. Like, who doesn't want to be cool? Why wouldn't he spit in the face of people who, you know, are not cool? I spit in the face of people who are not cool. But instead, he spit in the face of people who did not want to be cool. Everybody wants to be cool. Not everybody succeeds, but I think everybody wants to be cool, right?
On his eyes.
You want to be cool, right, John? You want to be a cool guy? I want to be a cool guy. Do I always succeed? No. Do I most of the time? You goddamn right. Young Bucks beat Roque Romero and Chuck Taylor. A decent match. That Meltzer driver at the end was pretty sweet.
Well, to me, this just goes to show you, like, when you've wrestled someone so many times, it kind of shines through in your matches, and it kind of really showed in this match. It just seemed like there was a lot of chemistry here. Like, I feel like the Bucks, like, when they're with someone they're very comfortable with, that's their best matches. But if they're wrestling someone that they're not really comfortable with or don't have a lot of experience with, the matches are kind of so-so. But this, you know, you could tell, like, they've probably done this, like, countless times.
Honestly, I feel like the Bucks are, it's not really because of the familiarity, which helps too, but they're best suited to just wrestling tag team. We've been seeing the Bucks in these 6-man, 8-man tags, these multi-man tags, and it's just too much. It's too messy. There's too much going on. When there's just 4 guys in the ring, the Bucks style seems less chaotic because there are fewer bodies flying around. I just think, like, when I saw the Bucks versus Rocky and Chuck, I was like, oh, this isn't a 6-man. I was surprised it wasn't a 6-man because the Bucks have been doing these 6-man tags so much with Adam Cole, and it's just been confused. You know, just a lot of guys flying around, hitting their little spots, doing the kiss. It's like overdone, like they're doing too much with those 6-man tags because they have to do a super kick on this guy, then this guy, and then this guy, and then, get your tag team partner involved and do a triple team move, you know, like they do too much. But when they're just a tag team, it's like, it's more basic, you know, it's more wrestling. It's more pro wrestling and less like fucking circus shit. They do those 6-man, I think the 6-man tags they got to stay away from because they're always messy. But their tag team matches are a lot more solid. And that's when we really enjoy the Bucks, I think. Like, when I see the Bucks in those 6-man tags, I don't really like it. But when I see them in tag team matches, it's like, this is a really good tag team match. They're just better when it's 4 guys rather than 6.
One other thing, too, is like, I find their matches kind of drag. This one didn't feel like it dragged that much. So maybe that's another thing, too. Like, when they do 6-mans, they're too complicated. Where this one, it didn't seem like that messy. I mean, it's still kind of messy because they had the whole interference stuff, but it wasn't as bad as usual.
That's it. It was fun. I thought it was a really good match. Young Bucks get the win over Romero and Taylor after the Meltzer driver. Again, the Meltzer driver looked like death. It was a hell of a move. The Bucks beat on Chuck and Rocky after the match. Adam Cole started beating up on Orange Cassidy, who was in their corner there. And then Wheeler Yuta tried to make the save, but he got taken out too. Brandon Cutler helping out. And then Cole hit his Tequila Sunrise on Orange, and it looked like everybody was going to beat down the Best Friends. But then the Best Friends music hits, and Sue driving her van into the arena, and of course her son Trent is there coming out of the minivan to make his return after some neck surgery or spinal surgery. It was bad, right? Like he had a real bad injury. And now he's back. He's got a shaved head. He looked like $1 million. I like the shaved head look of Trent. And he took everybody out. He came in. He cleared house. And then Sue and Chris Statlander came in the ring. And all the Best Friends, the whole team did a big group hug. I liked it. I liked seeing Trent come out. I wasn't expecting him to come out. I thought Trent was going to be gone for a really long time. I didn't think he was going to be back this soon after the injury. We're hearing it was real bad. So I'm happy that we saw Trent come back this soon after the neck injury. And I like the new look for him. I think he looks real cool with the shaved head.
Yeah, the shaved head's fine. I just found he seemed a little thin, more so than usual. And I think it's just because he's not able to work out whatsoever. So I think he came back like immediately once he could. This is his first time showing up. Like, yeah, he's going to be on the show. And it was a nice surprise. Just maybe don't have him take down the whole Super Elite by himself. It seemed a little bit too far-fetched, but it was a nice moment for him anyways, regardless.
It was nice. I don't know where it goes from here. I don't know how much I want to see like a feud between these two groups, though, right? Like, I don't care about that. I thought we saw the best match you could possibly get between these two groups. Maybe, Chuck and Trent versus the Bucks at some point, but I'm not so into seeing Chuck and Trent and Orange and Wheeler or Rocky. I'd rather see Rocky than Wheeler, honestly. When it was Rocky and Chuck, I was a lot happier with that than seeing Wheeler and Chuck. I'm not so into Wheeler. Right. He's really the jabroni of the group. But Orange and Chuck and Rocky and Trent against the Bucks and Cole and Brandon Cutler. Like, come on. I'm not interested in that. I don't really need to see more of this, but I think we will. So there's that. But nice to see Trent back. Ruby Soho interviewed backstage. The Bunny and Penelope Ford show up and talk shit to her. And then Nyla Rose shows up and helps Penelope and the Bunny beat up on Ruby. And then Ty Conti and Anna Jay show up and run them off.
Look, everyone, it's Santa!
Thank you, Angelo. And that sets up a 6-woman tag on Rampage. The Bunny, Penelope Ford, and Nyla Rose taking on Ruby Soho, Anna Jay, and Ty Conti coming up on Friday night. Angelo dropping a super chat. He also says, Cutler sucks. I like Cutler. I think he's kind of funny. And with that, Angelo takes the lead for the super chat leader of the night. Thank you, Angelo. Yeah. Doug Hepburn drinking his beer tonight out of a Ringside Report tumbler. Don't forget to go to ringsidereport.net/shop to get yourself a tumbler just like Doug has. And Rolando, I don't think we have anything for smokers on the... Oh, Angela says Doug and he are tied. All right. Rolando's looking for some sort of merch for pot smokers. I don't think we have any weed merch. Like some Ringside Report papers would be nice. I'd like some Ringside Report rolling papers, but they would have to meet Dave's standard of excellence, which, they got to be thin. They got to have a nice stick, But yeah, maybe we'll get some Ringside Report weed paraphernalia. I don't know if we could do that, but papers or an ashtray at least. We could do an ashtray. I'd use that. Something for Dave to use, Something for Dave. Ringside Report edibles made by Dave. I don't think I can sell those.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I don't think that's legal. I mean, I do make some pretty tremendous weed cookies and banana bread and all sorts of cool stuff that I make. Really nice baked goods. I get you real baked, but I don't think I can sell those on our website, unfortunately. I should be able to. It's a free country. Should be able to sell whatever I make out of my own home. Government shouldn't be interfering, but that's a whole other story, so whatever. All right, Rolando. And that's basically what we saw in Dynamite tonight. Sammy Guevara interviewed on the stage by Tony Schiavone. Cody Rhodes interrupted him. Cody says from one good guy to another. Cody says, hey, Sammy, on Christmas, you'll be defending the TNT title against me. So Cody's saying, I'm a good guy just like you are. And Cody went to leave through the heel tunnel, but then turned around and left through the babyface tunnel. I don't know if you noticed that, but, Cody teasing that heel turn, but still saying, hey, I'm a good guy. You're a good guy, even though the crowd booing Cody. And Cody says he's going to get a TNT title shot against Sammy on Christmas, which I wonder. I don't understand.
Saturday, no?
Yeah, what's up with that? Is Rampage on a Saturday on Christmas Day or something?
Maybe there's a game on Wednesday that week, and yeah, maybe they're getting bumped to Saturday again.
Dynamite or Rampage?
I would guess Dynamite.
I don't think so. I think it's Rampage. Because Dynamite is taking place Wednesday, December 22nd in Greensboro, North Carolina. They're in Greensboro. So what I think is happening, this is my guess on why Cody said Christmas. I think what's happening is on the 22nd in Greensboro, they're going to be recording Dynamite and Rampage. But I don't think that they will air Rampage on Friday night, 10 p.m. on Christmas Eve. I think they're going to save it for Saturday night, Christmas Day. Because who's watching TV at 10 p.m. on Christmas Eve? I think you're better off Christmas Day. Christmas night,
We I guess won't be doing that then, so yeah. Makes it easier for us.
No, Christmas Eve we're not doing a show.
Good to know.
Yeah, I mean, come on. New Year's Eve we're not doing a show either. We're going to be off a couple Fridays in December because it's Christmas and New Year's Eve. And I'm not going to be counting down the new year with you, Johnny North. No offense, but I got other things I got to do. I'm not going to be sitting here talking wrestling on New Year's Eve and Christmas Eve either. I got family obligations. So, yeah, we're not going to be here Christmas Eve. Shout out to Doug Hepburn. He says, Johnny Bongs. Make him, Dave. I mean, that would be cool. A Johnny North Bong. I don't really know how that would work. Doug Hepburn also says, gonna miss you guys Friday. Enjoy the MEW show. Well, thank you, Doug. I will miss the whole team on Friday as well. We're usually here on Friday nights, but we'll take a rare night off. Although,
only one more Friday this month. Then,
yeah,
I guess.
one more Friday in December.
Wow. Rough. Well,
Right?
Dynamite is still here at least, so you still got Wednesday nights, guys. Enjoy that.
Yeah, but Friday nights, we're going to be off a little bit because, this Friday you're going to be wrestling and I'm going to be at the show. Next Friday we'll be on, but then the Friday after will be Christmas Eve, so we won't be here. And then the Friday after that will be New Year's Eve, so we won't be here for that. So, yeah, we'll be taking a few Fridays off here in December, but it's the holidays, so what are you going to do? Maybe we'll have some special programming on other days around the holidays. Or maybe we won't. I haven't figured that out yet.
Do a best of.
We'll see, John. We'll see.
Festivus. That's a fun idea.
Yeah, I don't think so. Although we will be doing a show on Festivus. It'll be the 23rd, and we'll do a Ringside Report MMA show on the 23rd. So that'll be our Festivus Christmas special. AJ will be real excited about that. So after Cody leaves the stage, Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky cut a promo from the crowd for some reason. Page wonders why Cody's getting the title shot instead of him, maybe because he's an EVP and he kisses Tony's ass. Page says Dan Lambert got him a title shot, though, and Dan Lambert is coming back. Don't know when, but he will be back at some point. Scorpio says Sammy is scared to face anyone in the top 5, and then Sammy dares him to come down and face him. So I guess it'll be Scorpio versus Sammy at some point, or Ethan Page against Sammy? I don't know. It's a tag team. They both seem to want a shot at the title. I don't get it. Who's wrestling Sammy? When is it happening? Do you care? To me, Cody's the opponent. And then you have fucking Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky jabroniing it up in the crowd. It's yeah, all right, we'll wrestle you until Cody's ready to do it, Sammy Guevara. Dan Lambert's coming back, and then we'll be relevant again. Fuck out of here. Stay in the crowd, buy a ticket, sit down, shut the fuck up. Nobody wants to see these guys.
Well, it's just something for Sammy to do until he wrestles Cody, because, still another 2 weeks away, or a little bit more than that, so he's got to do something in the meantime.
But, do you care? When those guys got the mic, I was like, this segment's still going on? I just wanted to see Cody and Sammy, and then it's now Ethan Page is talking. Oh, okay. Boring.
I won't mind a match with Scorpio Sky. I think that could be a good match, but yeah, in terms of the promo, it's nothing really interesting.
You can't believe in those guys. Those guys are not believable. They're total jabronis. Right? They're jobbers.
Well, they may mention when they have Dan Lambert there, it kind of elevates them a little bit.
Yeah.
Puts them above being that kind of mid-carder status, almost
Barely.
high mid-card, but
barely. When Dan Lambert's there, I'm more interested in seeing Junior Dos Santos or Paige Van Zandt than those guys. Even when Dan Lambert is there, he brings an entourage, and then Paige and Sky are just kind of background players. They don't mean anything until they actually have the matches, and then it's well, they're the only guys that can actually wrestle, but they're not the stars of the show. They are not the stars of the show. You know who the star of the show is? Jade Cargill. That bitch! There was a Jade Cargill Thunder Rosa promo package that played. And that was pretty cool. When is their match?
Oh, it's probably going to be not for a while, because it's not going to be next week, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's probably the week before Christmas, maybe.
Maybe.
Or no, actually, no, it'd probably the week of Christmas. Sorry, the December 22nd show or 23rd?
22nd.
22nd, I guess.
Yeah. All right, well, next week it is AEW Dynamite Winter is Coming. Bryan Danielson challenging Hangman Page for the AEW World Championship. Serena Deeb versus Hikaru Shida in a rematch. MJF versus Dante Martin for the Dynamite Diamond Ring. A big episode of Dynamite next week. A big episode of Rampage coming up on Friday. We will not be watching it with you because Johnny will be wrestling. We usually watch Rampage with you every Friday night at 10 p.m. Eastern. But it will be the FTR versus the Lucha Brothers for the AEW Tag Team titles. The Bunny, Penelope Ford, and Nyla Rose versus Ruby Soho, Anna Jay, and Ty Conti. Adam Cole versus Wheeler Yuta. And Hook Taz making his in-ring debut against Fuego del Sol. These matches are barely of any consequence, except for the AEW Tag Team title match. Lucha Brothers have not beat FTR. FTR seems to have beat any kind of combination of the Lucha Brothers with different guys. Do the Lucha Brothers retain the titles on Friday, or do FTR become the first ever two-time AEW Tag Team champions?
I feel Lucha Brothers are going to win this one. Because, again, if they're going to switch the titles, it wouldn't be Rampage.
Why not? You got to make people watch Rampage. The ratings for Rampage are not doing too good. You got to do something to pop a rating. None of the matches on Friday night make me say, I must tune in to see this, right? Give me a title change.
Hey.
Do something.
I don't disagree with that logic, but I just feel like they're not going to do it for this, at least, though.
I think you're right. But, there are fewer and fewer reasons to watch Rampage every week. You don't miss much if you miss Rampage. It's a slightly elevated. I mean, it's slightly. I was gonna say elevated, but they have Dark Elevation, but it's like a slightly elevated version of Dark. You know what I mean? Like it's just a notch above Dark or Dark Elevation. It's not that important of a show. Dynamite is still the A show, and Rampage is the B show, but like way, way, way behind. Nothing happens on Rampage.
Well, not being live, I think, hurts it a lot. I mean, I think the hour's all right. They need to change the actual time slot. 1 hour's good, but 10 p.m. is just too late for wrestling.
I agree. 10 p.m. start time on a Friday night. Only nerds like us are watching that. I mean, most people are out or doing something, People have other things to do on a Friday night. Angelo dropping a super chat. Says, try again. And he says that because he's taking the lead now from Doug. Angelo is now the super chat leader of the night. And he does it just in time because the show is about to end. Alrighty. Okie dokie. Okie dokie. John, final words?
Again, not the greatest show tonight, but
it was all right.
Hopefully next week will be better. Yeah, it was, it had its moments, but
better than Raw.
Start
I'll tell you
to
that
finish.
much. You see Raw?
I saw a bit of the cage match. That was about it.
Not great.
Well, again, Raw has its own problems, though. One for it being too long, and then bad storylines. There's a bunch of problems with Raw, but
bunch of problems.
Dynamite.
Fewer
sometimes
problems.
like the rest. I guess it's different problems. I look at it like that.
Fewer problems. I mean, come on. I was struggling to find anything good on Raw this week. That main event was god-awful. I don't know why people were excited about that. Liv Morgan is terrible. God. Whew.
Oh, I only saw the steel cage. I didn't see that.
It was a stinker.
So
made Becky Lynch look bad, which, is hard to do. Ouch.
Don't you end with the steel cage? I don't understand that. But
right? Right? How do you open the show with the steel cage? Even then, it was just a bad show. Bad episode of Raw this week. Good episode of Dynamite. It wasn't the best episode of Dynamite. I'm sure next week, Winter's Coming, will be even better. I mean, Danielson versus Hangman for the title. Hard to beat that. But Danielson versus Hungy in the main event tonight was pretty damn good. Riho versus Jamie Hayter was pretty damn good. We saw some really good stuff on the show tonight. MJF and CM Punk doing their thing. I enjoyed Dynamite. I was not bored. I thought overall the show was good. It had some low points, but overall, I still think it's the best wrestling show on a consistent basis every single week, right? Nobody's doing a better wrestling program right now than AEW Dynamite.
Well, I thought for a while SmackDown was really good. I don't know what happened to SmackDown. It kind of dropped off a little bit, but SmackDown was really good.
Roman
what
got
happened.
stale. That's what happened. Roman's doing
No,
the same shit every week. It's so stale. It's so tired.
He's actually still the best part of the show. The other parts are just kind of weak right now. They got to work on that.
Oh, there's a lot of Rick Boogs and Baron Corbin and shit, you know?
That could be a lot better, no question.
Yeah, how about you fire Madcap Moss, Rick Boogs, Baron Corbin? You know, how about that? Might make the show better. How about you fire more talent because, you know, they don't deserve to be on TV. They're terrible. All right? And that's it. And that's all. I will be back here tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, with Freddie and AJ. We're going to be previewing UFC 269. The rest of the week is all out UFC. We're previewing UFC 269 tomorrow night. Charles Oliveira versus Dustin Poirier is your main event. UFC Lightweight Championship on the line. Co-main event, we got Juliana Pena challenging Amanda Nunes for the UFC Women's Bantamweight Championship. And you heard me already predicting Juliana Pena as a huge upset. And I will break it all down tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on Ringside Report MMA. And then Friday night, Freddie and AJ and I will be back 10 p.m. Eastern Time to watch UFC 269, the pay-per-view, along with you. It's a UFC pay-per-view watch-along, double championship main event, women's bantamweight, men's lightweight, titles on the line for the UFC in Las Vegas. UFC 269 doing the watch-along coming up Friday night, 10 p.m. Eastern Time with the boys. We'll give you all the info you need. You can follow along with us. We'll give you up-to-the-minute analysis and news on the UFC, and we'll give you our predictions so you can make a little money. I made some money last weekend. All sorts of money. I hope you bet on my man, Chris Curtis. I told you he was going to win. Big underdog once again coming through. Team Dave. We cashed in last week. We're going to cash in again this week at UFC 269. Watch tomorrow night. Bet along with the Ringside Report team. Freddie and AJ will have their picks as well. Go to ringsidereport.net. In the meantime, like this video, subscribe to the channel. And when you do, click that bell. Ding. So you get notifications every time we are on. Thank you, everybody. Angelo Contagonis, thank you, my friend. You are the Super Chat leader of the night. Thank you to Doug Hepburn as well, dropping his Super Chats. Appreciate you, Doug. And Rolando as well. Thank you, Rolando, for dropping a Super Chat. Appreciate you. Don't forget to become a member. Go to join.ringsidereport.net. That's join.ringsidereport.net. And don't forget, wrestling fans, a rare exception, we will not be on here after Friday night SmackDown coming up Friday because Johnny North is a wrestler and he's got to wrestle on Friday night. So we won't be here Friday night, but we will be back next Friday at 10 p.m. Eastern Time as we are every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday after the wrestling. Monday after Raw, Wednesday after Dynamite, and Friday after SmackDown. Go to mewwrestling.com. Tickets are still available if you want to check out the show Friday night at the M-Telus in downtown Montreal. I'll be there. AJ will be there. Johnny will be there. Check us out. Check it out. And I'll be here again tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern with Ringside Report MMA right here on the Ringside Report Network.